I am 83 years old, and I have spent the last few weeks looking at the walls of this house, realizing that I am a complete stranger to my own life. It is a frightening thing to reach the end and discover that you never truly showed up for the journey. I have the house, the pension, and a file cabinet full of achievements. Yet as I sit here in the quiet, I see that I spent 8 decades merely preparing to live without ever taking the first step. I am not telling you this, so you will feel sorry for me. At 83, sympathy doesn't do much. I am telling you this because I recognize the same fog in the eyes of people far younger than I am. This is a quiet confession from a man who ran out of road before he ever learned how to drive. In my 30s, I thought I was being incredibly wise. I was an assistant branch manager at a bank, and I took great pride in my caution. I lived by the clock and the ledger, believing that by avoiding risks and being the reliable one, I was securing a future that would eventually allow me to be happy. I worked 60 hours a week, and when I came home, I was usually too tired to do anything but sit in my chair and watch the news. I told my wife, Elena, that we would travel once the mortgage was smaller. I told my daughter, Claire, that I would go to her school plays next year, once the new branch was finally settled. It all felt reasonable at the time. I wasn't being a bad man. I told myself I was being responsible. I repeated that lie every morning while tying my tie. I remember one Saturday morning in particular. Claire was about 7 years old when she came into the kitchen, holding a map she had drawn. She wanted us to go on an adventure in the woods behind our house. I had a stack of files from work that needed my attention if I wanted to stay ahead of the next promotion. I didn't yell. I calmly explained that if I finished this work now, we could go on a much better vacation later in the summer. I can still see her folding that map, trying to be a good girl, and quietly walking out of the room. We never went on that adventure. Something else always came up: a car repair, a budget meeting, a cousin's wedding. The later, I promise, was a currency I printed in my own mind, but it had no value in the real world. This became the pattern of my life for 40 years. I was always waiting for the perfect conditions to start being present. I lived in a constant state of delay. I didn't notice the cost because the damage didn't happen all at once. It showed up slowly, in the erosion of my marriage into a series of logistical conversations about groceries and bills, and in the way Claire stopped asking me to play, not because she was independent, but because she learned that I was always somewhere else. By every measure the world cares about, I was successful. I was respected in the community, but inside, I was hollow. I became a man who knew the price of everything and the value of nothing. The turning point came when I was 65 and finally retired. I received the gold watch and attended the party, then walked into my house thinking, now I will start living. But Elena had spent 30 years learning how to be happy without me. We would sit at the dinner table with nothing to say. We had talked about the future for so long that we no longer shared a language for the present. 2 years later, Elena got sick. It was fast. Something in her lungs that shouldn't have been there. In her final months, I tried to make up for 30 years in 30 days. I tried to take her to the places I had promised, but she was too weak to leave the bed. I tried to tell her how I felt, but the words came out clumsy because I had never practiced them when they mattered. She passed away holding my hand, and I could see in her eyes that I was a man she had stopped expecting anything from long ago. That was when the clarity finally arrived. Too late, as clarity often does. I realized that my important work had been nothing but noise. At the funeral, no one spoke about my branch's profit margins. They talked about Elena's kindness, a kindness I had often ignored because I was too busy being productive. I have lived alone in this house for 15 years now. Claire calls every Sunday. She is kind to me, but there is a distance between us, a distance I built with my own hands. At 83, I understand that the only things that truly belong to me are the moments I threw away because I believed I could buy them back later. You cannot buy them back. Time is the only thing with no refund policy. I want to tell you calmly that your caution may be your greatest mistake. You think you are being smart by waiting for the right moment, the right salary, the right house. But while you are waiting, your life is happening without you. It is happening in the messy kitchen, in the rainy afternoon, in the kite that doesn't fly. Do not spend your life preparing for a future that may never arrive. I have the future I worked for, and I would trade every penny of my pension just to go back to that Saturday morning and follow my daughter's hand-drawn map into the woods. I am running out of time, and the weight of what I didn't do is far heavier than anything I ever accomplished. If someone wants your time, give it to them. Not next week, not after the project is done, but now. One day, you'll be sitting in a quiet room and realize that the later you were counting on was just a ghost you were chasing, while your real life stood right in front of you, waiting to be noticed. I am tired now. The sun is going down and the house is growing dark. I have said what I needed to say. If these words meant something to you, maybe share a moment you've been putting off. It helps to know that people are still trying to choose the right things. Take care of yourselves and don't wait.